Welcome back to Geeky Port, your safe harbor in the tumultuous waters of nerddom. So that's our intro, and I'm sticking with it.
Yeah.
I am here with a guest who has never been on this show, Devin Mazarski.
Hello, thank you for having me. It is an honor to be on the show. I've heard so much about it, and I've always wanted to just talk about random geeky stuff. And I like hanging out with my friend Jamie.
Yay.
So I think we're gonna have a good one. It's gonna be a good one today. I can feel it.
I guess we'll spend the first half of this episode talking about a subject that is both dear to our hearts.
Yeah, yes.
The winged bloodsuckers of the night, vampires.
Vampires. So I will say that, like, growing up, I wasn't like super interested in vampire lore. Like, I've only very recently come into my vampire era, if you will. It started with the Castlevania Netflix show. Of
course.
And well, that's how I've gotten super interested. So now I'm playing Castlevania, the video game. Yeah. I was in a production of Dracula, but like the regular Dracula, like the guy who went to the Monster Mash Dracula.
I was there.
Yes, and you saw that, and I believe it's also available on the Cape Media Center YouTube channel.
Yes.
Yeah, so go check it out.
Thank you for the plug.
Yeah, I play Arthur Holmwood, who was played by Carrie Elwes in the movie directed by the guy that I can't remember.
That would be, I'm going to cut all this out.
Wait, I know it. No, he did other famous movies.
Right.
And then everyone was like, oh, Dracula.
Francis Ford Coppola.
He did The Godfather,
Yes,
and The Godfather 2, and The Godfather 3. That's right.
And then he made Dracula. Which I love. I think I think it gets a bad rep sometimes because it's like, it's a bit over the top. Shall we say?
Yeah, I agree. I think it had a stronger first half, as far as I remember. It kind of dipped in the middle, and I recall it ending pretty cool. I mean, Gary Oldman.
It's a solid cast all around.
Yeah.
Although Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves are famously not British.
Yeah.
And they're doing their best.
They're doing their best
to do British accents.
Yeah.
But at the time, they were like some of the biggest stars in the world.
Yeah.
So I think that's what motivated that casting, and I think they definitely look the part.
Yeah.
And
Was that post-Matrix for Keanu Reeves? I don't remember which came out when.
I want to say it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not to get off topic, but how cool was the Matrix in theaters when you were there?
It was
right?
incredible.
Oh.
Like, and nothing was spoiled for us. So
Exactly.
like we didn't know. Like when I guess spoilers for the crew. So when you realize that all of humanity are actually in these have been captured by a machine race.
Yeah.
And are like in these
They're
little
in the
cocoons,
pods. Yeah.
like little cocoon-like pods. And are being used as living batteries to power their machine kingdom.
Although I did hear, I think like they changed it to human batteries because they thought that that'd be like more, like the audience would be able to wrap their head around that a little more. I think in like the original incarnation or whatever, it was more so like they're using our brains as like CPU or as like RAM or something, as like processing power of our actual brains.
Which actually makes more sense because that would make more of like a shared synthetic universe, like a virtual reality,
right?
Which is what like we know as reality, and like as if to say like everything that you know is not real. Like you are just like in a pod in like these weird fluids just keeping you alive.
With your head shaved.
With your head shaved. Right? Apparently body hair just can't happen inside the fluid pod. But yeah, I think like a joined mind makes more sense, but I think it's more spiteful.
Yes, yeah.
For the machine race to use us as living batteries, even though there's very little juice, like bioelectric juice that our nervous system creates.
Yeah, I think it was probably just like they were like, okay, we got a lot of mind-bending stuff in here. Let's not go too crazy in too many places.
Yeah. Well, that's the risk that you take with science fiction that's too high concept.
Right.
Like it still has to be grounded in reality using concepts that the general audience will understand.
Yes, yeah. And it's funny how like your smartest character can really only be as smart as your author, because like to write for a smart character, it's like, well, you got to say smart stuff. But like if you're not that smart, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why it's important to have an audience proxy character.
Yes, yeah.
So the character will be like, wait, what do you mean this isn't reality? Like if Morpheus was the main character and we start out in What's the? You've probably seen the sequels, right?
I have seen the sequel, and I like the sequels. I like the Matrix sequels. I thought the fourth one was okay. I'm gonna stay. This is Geeky Port is about controversial opinions, and I'm standing on that. The Matrix sequels are good. Thank you. Not as good as the first, of course, but
right. Well, that's the problem of like starting out way too strong.
Yes, yeah. It's like, well, only going down from here.
But yeah, it's Zion.
Yeah, Zion. Yes, that's
Zion
where it is.
The name of the city. So it's like if you started in Zion and be like, we have to rescue humanity who are in pods. Luckily, we freed ourselves, and like, well, okay, and then it ruins the surprise.
Yeah, you want to do a little more show, don't tell, I guess.
So yeah. Well, that's why I like Dracula, just to bring
it back to Dracula.
The main character is not Dracula.
That's true.
The main character is Mina and
Keanu Reeves.
John Harker?
Jonathan Harker.
Jonathan Harker. Right?
Yes. You know what? I really enjoyed that film because they do a lot of like practical effects, and I know we've beat this drum a lot about practical effects versus CGI, but they do. It's like I can't explain it. There's one scene where like the train's going by, but it's like Keanu Reeves is like reading something, but it's like a legit little like toy set going by or something. It's Francis, you did it again.
and the journal that he's writing in, so we can see as the audience what he's writing, even though it's in the same shot. They made this enormous journal.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love that stuff. They're like I'm sure CGI would have been much easier, but you know I love the little practical effects.
Back in '94,
that's true.
Or '92.
92, 94. Matrix was '99. Makes you question.
Maybe this is pre-made.
Are we allowed to Google things live on set?
Nah.
Nah. You know what I've noticed is like, if you just talk enough, eventually you'll get to the right answer. You know, just keep talking, you know?
Yeah.
You know, okay, so not to get too off topic, but we're friends. But there's sort of a generational gap, if you will. A slight generational gap, in a way. A slight. I don't mean, no offense.
Yeah, I'm in my deep 30s.
Yes, true.
Very deep 30s.
And I'm about to enter my early 30s. So, so I think back then, it's like, I feel like you had to operate on more assumptions. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't just look up when did The Matrix come out and when did Dracula come out.
Right.
It's if somebody's late to the show, you just assume, like, well, I hope they're still on their way. We agreed on this time, rather than be like, yo, are you coming? You know, that kind of stuff.
This communication device makes things a lot easier. But it also is the source of most of my anxiety.
This is true. This is what keeps me up at night. It's like, literally, because I'm on my phone in bed when I shouldn't be.
Sad things.
But I've tried to start reading more. I've been reading a lot of One Piece, the manga, which is good.
Still counts as reading.
It still counts as reading. Yeah, see? Anime, manga, graphic novels. Except for anime, because that's a show. But you can read the subtitles. Anyway, back to vampires. I get a little distracted. I apologize.
Have you read, to kind of bring it back to Bram Stoker's Dracula, have you read his novel?
My apologies to Mr. Stoker, but I have not read his novel.
It's really unique, because it's not like, it was a dark and stormy night. The whole novel is a series of diary entries and letters that people the characters are writing.
Right.
So you're gleaning the story from how they're communicating back and forth to each other.
Right. My girlfriend was subscribed to an email newsletter that because the journal entries are dated October 2nd and November 3rd, and as the day would come by in real life, it would send you that clip or send you that chapter of the actual dated entry, and so every once in a while she would read me some. So I'm sort of familiar.
Oh, okay. Well, then she was your.
She was Lucy.
Well, yes, choose Lucy. But I was going to liken her to. The actor that played Gandalf in Lord of the Rings films.
Oh, Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen,
yeah.
Who would, between takes, read from Tolkien's text.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually did not know that.
Like everyone in the field of what they were doing. In Middle
The
Earth.
je ne sais quoi of Lord of the Rings. Oh, man, I didn't know that. I thought, did you know that Viggo Mortensen broke his toe when he kicked that helmet?
I love that that's a meme. It's just like, when that scene comes on.
You're just like...
And that's why he yells. It's like, this is true pain.
Now, this place is about learning. Is that the first instance of Dracula, Bram Stoker's?
No.
No. Oh.
I think he was building, certainly, the
lore.
the vampire myth, or consolidating lore from Eastern Europe.
Okay.
To say these are the laws of this universe.
Oh.
In fact, interestingly enough, the Dracula in his novel can walk around during the day.
Oh, really? Oh,
but
okay.
Can't use his powers. He can't shapeshift into a bat or a wolf or turn into a mist or use like hypnotizing powers. But he doesn't burn up.
Okay, does it just in the light?
You know what actually is the first instance of that?
What?
Is the film Nosferatu, which is a loose adaptation of Dracula.
Oh, is that the guy with like the actor who has the really long fingers or something?
Max Schreck.
Max Schreck?
Mm-hmm.
Shrek?
Yes.
Like Shrek?
So I think that's a reference to Nosferatu in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess they're both bald.
Yeah.
And also famously from SpongeBob.
Oh, when he turns off the lights and not Nosferatu. Did you watch the SpongeBob Super Bowl broadcast?
I tried to.
Oh, what do you mean you tried to?
Well, it's just, so you know in improv, Devin and I, we do improv together. He's been my scene partner. We've been scene partners.
We've been scene partners.
In many a scene. Yeah. But you know what's called sharing the focus?
Yes.
As our director, Maxie, constantly reminds us.
Yes.
It's not to talk over each other. I was getting such a headache from everyone talking. There was like 4 people talking all at once. And it was just like, share the focus. It was fun. I don't know who that was for. I'm guessing it was just a prop.
It was for me. It was just for me.
It was for capitalism too, because it's a cross promotion.
That's true. Anyway, back to Dracula. So Nosferatu. Now, is that a like a title for Dracula, or is it just like an alternate version of Dracula? Kind of like Vlad Tepes is like Vlad the Impaler, I guess, is also somehow taking on his own mythos as Dracula.
From what I understand, Nosferatu is the Romanian word for vampire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So F.W. Murnau, who directed the film, he wanted to just direct Dracula. He wanted to make Dracula the movie.
Right.
But you know what? This will have to wait till after the break.
Oh, we're saving it.
Yeah, so we're going to break now. We're going to go to not a commercial break, we're nonprofit. We're going to go to a PSA break, and when we return, we're going to talk more about the F.W. Murnau's seminal film, Nosferatu.
What?
We'll see you later.
Someone want to give me a room, huh? How about room service? Just need a stupid goddamn phone.
So now, you say you found something out there. You were saying?
Just a small farm. I don't even know if they own the place, but they came at me. And
let's just get him in the truck.
and then what?
You're not going to take him into town, are you?
Hey, you didn't happen to see a guy out there, did you? On your nature hike? He might have had a slight injury to the head.
You did that to him, huh? Beat him up like that?
You don't know what I know.
That damn farm. There's something happening here, and I don't know what it means. There's something wrong.
There's a shit storm coming our way.
Kidding. You serious? These people seem so... what's the word? Normal?
There's 250,000 ways to skin a cat. That's what public service is all about. We'll make this whole town a sacrifice.
Jesus, Tom. What have you been doing?
And welcome back. Again, you're watching Geeky Port. I am your guest host because Keith couldn't make it. Again, I'm here with Devin Mazarski, who is our guest and vampire expert.
Yeah, well, I think you're the expert and I'm the student. You know what I mean? I'm still learning. I'm still dipping my toes into the water that a vampire couldn't do because they can't cross water. Well, they can't cross flowing water, correct? Well, it depends on the iteration, I guess.
That, I think, is an invention of Bram Stoker.
Oh, really?
Because, All right, so Dracula can cross water,
Okay.
but he has to be in the earth of his home country.
Right.
So if you remember,
on the Demeter.
Demeter, yeah, I
Yeah.
almost said the Impusa because in the film Nosferatu, they call it the Impusa. Just to kind of go back to the discussion of Nosferatu, remember how I was saying how F.W. Murnau wanted to adapt the novel Dracula to
Right.
film. The estate of Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker had passed away, and his wife was in charge. She said no.
Really? Well, okay, so they was like, all right, we're gonna make a vampire movie, but it's not Dracula, it's Nosferatu.
Right. So what they did is they changed all the names. So it's not Jonathan Harker. It's Thomas
Jonathan
Hutter.
Jarker.
It's not Dracula. It's Count Orlok. Yeah.
Okay.
So
What was Jonathan Harker's name again?
Thomas Hutter.
Thomas Hutter. Okay. Okay.
So
Good old Tommy Hutz. We love Tommy Hutz.
so the ship is not the Demeter. It's the Impusa for whatever reason.
Does the Demeter, is that Latin? Or wait, isn't there a goddess Demeter?
Demeter is the goddess of the harvest.
Harvest, which would be Greek.
Where is Maxie? She's
I
our
know.
Latin
Where's yeah?
expert.
No. Well, have you played the video game Hades?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because it does have a lot of Greek lore, and
okay.
Demeter shows up, and she's like an old winter grandma, so I believe it's Greek because Hades is Greek, and all the Greek gods are there. So
Right. And then
so
the
there's-
Romans said, "We're going to take
We're just
your
gonna take
your
you."
religion and just change all the names."
Yeah, it's mine now.
Much like F.W. Murnau did with Bram Stoker's
See,
novel.
tied it all back.
I'm keeping all the conversation Dracula-centric.
Now, is the Impusa, does that translate to anything? Or do you know what language that originally is?
I think it means
just to put you on the spot.
empress.
Empress. I guess, yeah. Like imperial.
Yeah,
Somewhere
or
in
maybe
there.
like Demeter is the empress of the harvest.
Okay,
Maybe?
okay, fine. See, that's the thing. We were talking about this last episode. If you just keep talking, you look like you know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? You just keep going, yeah, no, yeah, I think that's right. You know, because back then, sports, like if you're at a bar and you're making a sports bet, you can just look it up. Like, how many points did Larry Bird score in 1985? But no, back then you just made like, well, I think it was this. Well, I think it was this. I'll bet you money.
And watch this. This is viewer engagement.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this on YouTube and you hear me saying something wrong, or Devin saying something wrong, but most likely it'll be me misspeaking, let us know in the comments.
We know that YouTube comments are always very friendly, very open, very analytical discussion, very much common ground where, much like the Greeks, it just would have philosophical discussions in the town square, I'm sure.
Yes. Oh, no, believe me, the episode that has the most views and the most comments on my YouTube channel
is the one where you're
is
most
the one where
wrong.
everyone is just hating on everything that's being talked about.
Yeah.
It was a discussion about role-playing games.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, man. Wow. Classic. They're jocks in their Letterman jackets on their computer, like, oh, role-playing games, stupid.
No, there were people actually a lot of people that were hating on Dungeons & Dragons, of all things.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that like even a thing anymore? Do people hate on Dungeons? I thought it's like,
Well, I think
turned
it's
the corner.
because it's the most popular role-playing game. That's why it gets hate, where it's just like, but no, I just like this role-playing game that like no one's ever heard of. And it's like, this is the real game that people should be playing. Because,
Interesting.
it's kind of like rebelling against it because it's popular.
So it's almost become an arms race of nerddom. Like, oh, your D&D is pretty nerdy, but I've got this even nerdier game, like which makes me the real nerd.
It's not as good as Shadowrun. It's not as good as BattleTech.
There's a lot
relax.
of gatekeeping.
Yeah, we're all nerds.
Yeah, we're all nerds here. We're all nerds here. Let's all like fly the nerd flag and just embrace. Speaking of D&D, I've started a newish campaign.
Okay.
I don't know the exact title. It's some sort of candlelight library.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Are you doing one?
I'm starting that this weekend.
No kidding, really?
Yeah, Candlekeep Mysteries.
Candlekeep Mysteries, yes. And I'm understanding it's like more like an anthology, so each little, not to spoil it for you. Are you the DM? Or
Yes, I've read them.
Of course.
So you will spoil nothing.
Okay.
In fact, if you're playing, are you playing or running?
I'm just playing. And I'm playing a character who is a vampire hunter. But I guess the class is called Blood Hunter.
Yes.
I believe. I basically just stole Richter Belmont from the Castlevania series, but he's also got a little bit of Alucard in there. So,
Nice.
yeah.
If you really want to play,
Which is Dracula backwards. Alucard is Dracula backwards.
which comes from the Castlevania character, is named after the character Count Alucard from the 1940s film Son of Dracula with Lon Chaney Jr., who is famous for playing the Wolfman.
Really?
Where he's playing, well, it's called Son of Dracula, but he's actually playing Dracula who survived his own death at the hands of Van Helsing. But, he's like, I'm Count Alucard.
No one will know my heritage.
Which is, it's fun. I wonder in the Castlevania continuity, did Dracula and his wife, Lisa?
I genuinely don't remember. From season 1, I loved, but I genuinely don't remember her name.
The one that was put to death for being a witch.
Alleged witch. She wasn't actually doing
But
witchery.
she just loved science.
She just loved science, and they thought it was witchery.
It was a less enlightened time.
Yes,
it was less woke.
Yeah.
But did they just decide like, hey, let's just take your name, reverse it, and that'll be our son's name?
And that is funny. I think when I have a son, I'm just going to name him Nived.
And you could literally play a Dampier in Dungeons and Dragons, which is a half vampire.
Yes, actually, my girlfriend's character is a Dampier, and there's a great relationship there, or dynamic of a vampire hunter who's in a party with a half vampire.
Oh,
that's good.
Good.
Oh,
you
it's
love
great.
the little,
little conflict. It's great. It's great.
So are you starting off with Joy of Extra Dimensional Spaces?
Yes, we did. We just met the guy in the
crazy coincidence.
Yeah. We just met the guy in the tower, the yellow tower, and he spoilers for the first mission in whatever this is called.
The first level adventure in Candlekeep Mysteries.
He had a book, and then he went through a dimensional door, and then we needed that book, and so we went through his dimensional door, and then he had like a little imp statue, and then also our DM might have injected his own things into there too, so I don't know how much is true to the story.
No, keep going.
Okay, and then we basically got locked behind the dimensional door, and he got attacked by, it wasn't his fault. He got attacked by an imp. These things happen, get attacked by an imp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
The imp,
you saw him get attacked by the imp?
The dimensional door was closing, and the imp came alive, and he went like, ah! And then the imp came at him.
All right. Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So all right. So he's just like,
spoilers,
wait,
though.
let me just run and grab something, and you guys can like explore the rest of the mansion, and I'll come back. And then like, he leaves. He gets the statuette comes alive, and I don't want to. There's a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
But and the door closes behind him, and then you are locked in the mansion and forced to discover the secret way out.
Yeah. I'm playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night right now, which stars Alucard. And I've struggled with, they call them Metroidvanias, because you basically get a whole map and you have to like explore the map basically. And I'm not very good with directions, and I'm not very good at remembering things. And I'm not very smart in general. So that game is harder if you're dumb, which is me. But you basically have to work your way up the castle and defeat your dad Dracula, your dadcula, if you will. And then, spoilers for the 1997 video game, the castle inverts, and you play, I guess, basically downwards as Richter Belmont.
Shaft.
Yeah.
So there's an evil priest named Shaft, and he. No relation to the 70s action star, but or a character rather. But he reverses the entire castle, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
but it's beautiful graphics.
Yeah,
like really the
music.
pinnacle of like 2D scrollers.
Yeah. Oh, the graphics they were able to like pull off in I think it was a Game Boy Advance game. It's fantastic. They really took a lot of ingenuity and to create such beautiful like settings.
Oh,
and
the
the
little
music's
sprites
great.
and the colors that they use and the character design. It's beautiful. But if you really like vampires and Dungeons and Dragons, arguably the best module, the best adventure for 5th edition is Curse of Strahd.
Curse of Strahd.
Yes.
Okay, I've heard good things. I've heard good things about Curse of Strahd. We got to get through this campaign first, but it happens.
Well, okay, so Joy of Extra Dimensional Spaces is only 8 pages long.
Really? Wait, the book itself, or like the campaign?
Well, the whole book is full of like, so once you finish Joy of Extra Dimensional Spaces, there's an adventure after that, and you start at 2nd level. So you could just either start at 2nd level with all new characters, or you could just pull the characters from Joy of Extra Dimensional Spaces into the next adventure. But there isn't really like an overarching story to all the adventures. Essentially, it's a book of one-shots.
Okay. My character's name is Lugosi, which is, of course, a reference to Bela Lugosi, who played Dracula in some seminal version that I can't remember.
From the 30s.
The 30s, yes.
Who was already famous for playing Dracula on Broadway.
He played Dracula on Broadway? In a musical?
It was a straight play. Just drama. Yeah.
That would be amazing. And so if I could share a cute little story.
Sure.
My girlfriend and I, we were in a play together. And the director said, hey, just do an improv bit here. And I don't know how or why, I started talking about Bela Lugosi, and she recognized it, and somehow, so Bela Lugosi has become our we're in love because of Bela Lugosi. So I want to thank Dracula for finding a relationship for me.
Well, he was like a heartthrob in his day. Like, if you see pictures of him in his 20s, like.
Yeah.
Just a handsome dude.
He's a handsome dude, and I love the way they light him and like the whole hey, I'm Dracula kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What's better than that?
Have you seen the Tim Burton film Ed Wood?
I have not, but I've heard good things.
So it's an excellent film. It's probably his best film. It's a real life story about a terrible filmmaker, arguably like one of the worst filmmakers that has ever lived, Ed Wood, who's played by Johnny Depp.
Tim Burton worked with Johnny Depp? No, just kidding.
right. With Walter Matthau playing Bela Lugosi like in his twilight years. So he's like, it's actually kind of sad, like where he got to the point where like Hollywood wouldn't cast him in anything, and he gets a drug addiction, and he just like picks up whatever roles he can.
Oh, Bella, I'm so sorry.
But the story that's being told, it's really heartfelt, and the acting is phenomenal.
Awesome. Okay.
I would say it's primarily a comedy, but it really goes to dark places.
Okay. Is it streaming on Tubi or anything like that? I'm sure it is.
Actually, yeah.
Have you seen I assume you have, because I know you. You've probably seen a lot of Hammer horror films.
Yes.
And so
with Christopher Lee.
With Christopher Lee as Dracula. Yeah. I think I've only seen the Christopher Lee. Like, I haven't seen him play Van Helsing. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was. Who's the general in Star Wars?
Oh, right.
Oh my God. Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing is Van Helsing.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Grand Moff Tarkin, yes. Grand Moff Cheekbones, that's right.
But yeah, famous for playing Van Helsing.
Yes.
Abraham Van Helsing.
Yeah, Abraham Van Helsing, who was played by Anthony Hopkins, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
He
earned that knighthood.
He earned it, darn it.
Who played Van Helsing in the stage version that you were in?
We did not have a Van Helsing, believe it or not. We had just the Harker, Lucy Westenra, Mina, I don't know her last name. We had, who's Dracula's like man, who's secondhand man? Like Nick Cage was Dracula.
Knock.
Oh my God.
Renfield.
Renfield, thank you. Did you see the Renfield movie?
No, I
did not. Did you see?
No one did. That's why it bombed in theaters.
I heard it was good. Did you see Voyage of the Demeter?
Yes.
Okay.
That was excellent.
Was it Dracula on a boat?
It was Dracula on a boat.
I gotta check those out.
No, that's legitimately a good film. And
really?
I think they just shot it all on like a green screen, but like the special effects hold up. And Dracula is like legit scary.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he's kind of like he's kind of like depowered while he's on the boat.
Okay.
So like the best he can muster is like this like humanoid bat.
Yeah.
And it's just really creepy, and it's a combination of CGI and full body prosthetics.
So you're saying that the movie doesn't suck? And that's it, folks.
Yeah. Let's end there. We're not going to top that for a closer. I'd like to thank you, our viewer at home. Just one. We're very happy
Thanks, viewer.
You're watching our show. Catch us again next month for another exciting episode. I am Jamie.
And I'm Devin.
And this has been Geeky Port.
Thank you.